Folks, what I try to do when I'm filming is I try to make sure that I don't waste time fumbling around like a moron. I am going to show you now, we're going to kind of take a break from classes and we're going to do AJAX. And now what I had already done in a previous video that I attempted to start doing in front of you for the last video until I realized I misspelled script for like 3 hours, is I created another table called async, and we're going to be using this because we're learning AJAX. And what AJAX does is whenever we were here and we were to delete something, there's a little bit of a refresh. If we were to create this post, it's a post, and we were to do this and then upload a file, you see there's almost like some kind of a refresh. And every time that we would get rid of another one, you could see that it refreshes. What AJAX does is it stops that from happening. Now, we had already talked about it and discussed it in JavaScript, so what we're doing is we're going to create, and we're not going to do it here because I don't want to do the file uploads. File uploads in AJAX, it's more than possible. It happens all the time, but it's really filthy, and I want to kind of worry about that later. So we're gonna just go to another page that we made, and I got rid of everything, and I put in a text area, and I put in a number input, and I was just pointing out that with this enter button here, let me get rid of all this crap because we're not doing this anymore. Now let me just double check. Let me go to my inspection, my elements, head. There it is. Okay, good. So we're good. I was spelling script like SCIRPT or something like that, so it wasn't showing up for a while. But anyway, so we're going to create. Yeah, and I'm just showing an example. We have a text area, we have an input type, we have a button, on-click, all that stuff. And we did this in the JavaScript. We did AJAX, but we couldn't send it anywhere. Now we're going to actually send it somewhere. So I created another folder here called AJAX, which we're going to use in just a second. So now if we go to practice and I have this function, and now if I hit this button, hi is going to pop up as an alert because I told it to. That's what we're doing here. But I just wanted to show you that you can simply do everything with JavaScript. You don't have to do any background checks or front-round checks with anything. You can make all the checks here in JavaScript. You don't need anything else but this. However, we have nothing identifying these, so let's identify them. Let's call this ID equals, and we're going to name it after the same things we named here. Body, number. So this is body. And in case you're wondering, I made body text, and I made number integer, okay? And if we wanted to just sort of differentiate between the ID, even though it's not auto increment, we can make this a big int. Big int means that we have up to 22 spaces. So we can make an integer that's really big. Just say, you know, billions is 10. Like 1 to 9 billion is 10 places. So 22 places is twice as long plus a couple extra. So we're going to give that one the ID of body. We're going to give this one the ID of, and I think I called this number. Number, yeah. And this is a number input that we've seen. I've never used it for you guys, but we've seen it. Okay? So you can just kind of do that. You can type in a number, you know, whatever. You can't put in dots. It's going to just take them out because it's an integer in the database. And this is a text area, which we've seen before. And as I've told you before, if you were to do something like this, the text area can then be clicked anywhere, and the cursor will show up more or less in that vicinity. The more space you put into it, the more room you'll have to. So you can just keep clicking it anywhere and it'll go to, like, more or less the text area is their group of tags that gives you designated space. But if you wanted to, you can tell it how much space you want to be able to click into and type into. Doesn't mean that's the amount of text you can put in there, though. Don't forget that. That's based on this. Text is like 10,000 characters. You can write a book with that. It's no big deal. Well, it'd be a very short book, but Okay, so enter is here. Now we've had the formatting with forms before, but with this we can make a form, or we could just put IDs on here. We can take their values, whatever. But for the sake of righteousness, let's just say form method equals post, which would be default anyway, and we'll say on submit event.prevent default. Now, one of the reasons why you'd want to put a form in there and not just do a regular set of inputs is because you may want to make a cross-site reference token system that would require forms, or you may be using a framework that requires forms to have that. So you may want to get in the practice and the habit of doing forms. But now if you look, we'll do that. Well, let me get rid of that. But now if you look, when we press a button, and let's put more space in here. Let's make these divs. Because we want to put a like an error messaging system in here. So we go ID equals body I always like to say and then we close that out, and we'll do a form area div. We'll make that. We'll just do a little bit of CSS, nothing spectacular. This is going to be a couple of videos, by the way, so I just want you to realize that, you know, it looks like I'm jerking around wasting time, but we're going to be doing this over a course of a couple of videos. Number in number, get it? And then why the hell not? Let's make another div. You call it button area button, and then we'll go like this. And this is just to give us some space, and then we could still have this purple background, whatever it is. But now we just want to have some space. So let's go to practice, and we'll go to form area, and we'll say height equals 60 pixels. We'll say margin bottom is 10 pixels, and we'll say error, and I will put in another class called area. Area. And we'll do area. And what we'll say is position absolute, because we don't want everything moving when we get an error message. It drives me nuts. And we'll say height 20 pixels. So margin bottom, which isn't going to really make any difference. Why should that make such a difference? Let's go like this. That is a very big distance, so I don't like that. That looks kind of stupid. You know what? Let me, no, let's just keep it. Let's go like this. Let's say text area, and we'll make that a height of 70 pixels. 80 pixels. And we'll say form area, and we'll make that a height of 30 pixels. And we'll say margin bottom 10 pixels. And it should be good. That's better. That's a little bit better. I mean, it's going to be hard to see the errors, but, you know, there you have it. So I could style it. We're not going to style that. We'll just move on. So anyway, so now that we have this, we can get rid of this crap. And now, what we want to focus on is we want to focus on making an XML HTTP request object, which we've been making objects the last few videos. We did this in JavaScript, so you know the routine. And we'll do a var text equals document, and this should all look familiar to you if you've been watching all my tutorial videos. Element by ID. Oh wait, I said body. I'm sorry. This is body. Let's just name it body. dot value. Parentheses or no parentheses? I think it's parentheses. No, I think it's. I guess we'll find out. Number equals document get element by ID number value. I think it's none. I'm pretty sure it's none, but we'll find out. Like I said, I called the number. You just want to make sure you don't name it a keyword. Make sure you don't name your variables keywords. And then we're going to do a constant, and that will be send stuff equals new XML HTTP request. And there we have our request. So at this point, let us just go console log and make sure we got the right stuff. Concatenation in JavaScript. Get ready to switch between the two. Okay. And now if we were to refresh this, and we were to open our console, if I type in this and I get this number, as you can see, well, I guess because it's a console, so yeah, it makes sense. We'll just go like this. If we were to print this out on the page, it would look different. But as you can see, when we do that, everything seems to be working. We're getting the information that we need, and now we got to send it out. So instead of doing a console log, I mean, we've done this before. If you did my JavaScript tutorial, I don't like the indentation. It's weird. Okay, anyway, we'll do a send. Let's put this up. No, I was right. Send stuff dot onload equals function A. I'm not going to go into the details on this. What is a good practice is doing the onReady state. But the only thing with that is it's JavaScript, so you don't get any error messages. It doesn't make any difference. I wanted to see if there was a way that we can print out errors. JavaScript doesn't give you errors because JavaScript is garbage. So what we're going to do is we're just going to send a damn thing, and we're going to hope it works. And it should work. If it doesn't work, the console will tell us. But again, the console is not the page, so the page doesn't tell us because JavaScript sucks. That's just my 2 cents. Anyway, so when we load up this function, or when we load up this HTTP request, it's going to create this function, and what this function is going to do is it's going to take the sent data and it's going to print out. But what we're going to just kind of again walk this through on a tightrope very carefully. And at this point, we're just going to console log this response text. Okay? Again, we've done this. Now it's time to send it. So send stuff dot open, and we're going to make a file in here, the Ajax folder that I created before, and we're going to call it it would be practice Ajax Ajax, and we'll call the file send.php, and this is going to be a post method. And then we're going to send stuff. We're going to start giving it a set request header spiel of how do I do that? Set request header, content type XML HTTP request. Oh no, wait. I'm sorry. X requested with. I'm sorry. HTTP request. Send stuff. That's set request header. Content type is application X www form URL encoded. And now we're going to. And if you had a CSR token, you could put that in there as well. And now we're going to send our information, which is body, which equals, body. And then we're going to concatenate on top of that. Again, I talked about this before, so you can just go back to watch my tutorials. I'll give you a little bit of an explanation if you are just watching the PHP version of it. What we're doing here is we're setting the request header. the XML HTTP request, this is an object, we were talking about objects, that we created from the class known as XML HTTP request. So the object that we created is send stuff. Send stuff now has functionality as an object of HXML HTTP request. Okay, and that one of those pieces of functionality is on load. What that means is when you load up this request, you can create a function. And within that function, we are going to console log, what we just did, whatever this page spits back out. So now, in order for it to know where we're going and what we're doing, we open up the practice AJAX-Ing PHP page we're about to create, and we're going to tell it to post data to it. We are then going to set the request header, where we're going to tell it that we're sending an XML HTTP request. My Lord in heaven. And then we're going to say that the content type is an application form URL encoded. There are a few others. You can do JSON. You can do multi-part form data. We're just doing a regular application. We're just sending text. No big deal. And then we are sending the information through this variable. We're going to be calling a variable body in the back end, which is going to be it's going to dynamically upload whatever body value we got from here and the number value that we got from here. Okay, and at that point, once this XML HTTP request is sent and everything is done, we're going to just console log this response text. This is another bit of functionality that takes whatever's whatever it's getting from the page and sending it out. Now we got to create the AJAX file that we call send.php. And in here, we're going to have to include our header, which is in, actually, we'll just do the connection. We just need to include connection. Includes connection.php. Actually, let's require it because I want to see if there's an error back there. And at that point, we now have access to our connection object. If you want, you can, every time you have a backend file or whatever, you can always just keep making a new connection object. That's up to you. But the reason why we do this require stuff and we make it already so we don't have to keep doing that. It's like having a predetermined header. Let me save this. And now we're going to open up, we already have the PHP tags open, but now we're going to say if is set post, and we've seen this set before in the post, we're just going to, the post body, end is set post number. If these are set, if they've been sent, this thing is going to react. It's going to echo out post body concatenation post number. So we're just going to take the information that we put in there, that we sent in there, we're going to echo it out. Once we echo it out, it's going to then be this response text. Okay? Now, first things first, let's go here and let's go practice. Let's say AJAX send.php. Let's make sure there's no error. There is an error. Failed to open stream, no such directory. Okay, so let me get that right. Always double check. Includes, it is connection, but I might have to go back out. Let me see what's going on. Because we're already in a folder, so that might be the problem. Yeah, okay, that was the problem. So always make sure if you're already in a folder, if I go like this, right? Like this is why I like these types of text editors where I can visually see my folders. If I minimize the practice folder, I see what's in there, right? Now, if I minimize the AJAX folder, includes is still maximized. If I minimize includes and AJAX, as you can see, these folders are an equal level. So the only way you can get from here to here is you have to back out, and that's the .. Everything that's outside these folders, you don't need the .. because you're not going out of it. You've already superseded the folder. You're already outside of it, so you don't have to go out of a file and get into it. This time we have to go out of this file to get into this file, or folder, I should say. So there you have it. Now let's do that again. So let's do that again. And we'll go like this. And what we should see here when we hit this button, wait, did I get, no. Failed to execute open is not a valid HTTP method. Did I do that folder wrong now? Practice. Do I have to go through the whole thing? Let me just make sure. All the folders and stuff. I call it open extra. It's not a valid HTTP method. Wait a second. Let me just double check something. Let me double check my syntax. XML HTTP request. Let me just double check my syntax. Let me say HTTP request. Open. Oh, I did it the wrong way. My fault. I am so sorry. You got to tell it what it's doing first. My fault. Okay, let's try that again. My fault. That's what it's saying. Okay. See, that's why I have to look these things up again, because my syntax gets screwy. Okay. Let's try that again. And then we'll just put it like that. And as you can see, we're spitting out this. So everything's communicating well. Everything is doing well. Where's my AJAX? Zen, where are you there? Everything is communicating well. So now we're going to do checks, and we're going to insert into the database, the one that we just made, the table that we just made. I will see you in just a sec.